Most people have no accurate idea of their own intelligence, and that is not an insult. It is actually a documented psychological phenomenon. Research consistently shows that people at the higher end of the cognitive spectrum tend to underestimate their abilities, while people at the lower end tend to overestimate them. This effect, known as the Dunning-Kruger effect, reveals something fascinating about the nature of intelligence itself. True intelligence comes with enough self-awareness to recognize complexity, to see how much you do not know, to feel uncertain even when others seem confidently certain. If you have ever sat in a room full of people nodding along to something you thought was oversimplified and felt like you were the only one seeing the gaps, that discomfort was not a sign of weakness. It may have been a sign of something else entirely. Today we are going to go through 10 specific, research-backed signs that you are significantly more intelligent than you give yourself credit for. And I want to be clear up front. This is not about flattery. This is about psychology. Every sign on this list is rooted in behavioral and cognitive science. Pay attention to how many of these you recognize in yourself. Sign number 1. You constantly question things that other people accept without thinking. Highly intelligent people have what cognitive scientists call a strong need for cognition. It is a genuine drive to think deeply, to analyze, to look for the mechanism behind the surface. While most people accept the way things are because questioning takes mental energy, your brain finds the questioning itself rewarding. You ask why when others ask what. You want to understand the underlying structure, not just the conclusion. Research published in the Journal of Personality and Social Psychology found that individuals with a high need for cognition consistently outperform others on measures of critical thinking, problem solving, and learning retention. If you have always been the person who cannot just accept an explanation at face value, who needs to understand the reasoning behind it, that trait is not stubbornness or difficulty. It is one of the clearest cognitive signatures of a genuinely sharp mind. Sign number 2. You feel more comfortable being alone than most people around you seem to. This one surprises people. There is a common assumption that social confidence and intelligence are linked, that the most outgoing, socially present people are the sharpest, but the research tells a more nuanced story. A study published in the British Journal of Psychology found that more intelligent people derived less satisfaction from social interaction and actually experienced lower life satisfaction when they socialized more frequently. The proposed explanation connects to evolutionary psychology. Higher cognitive capacity allows for more complex internal mental activity. An intelligent mind can entertain itself, solve problems, and generate meaning through its own processing in a way that makes solitude feel full rather than empty. If you have ever preferred your own company and your own thoughts to small talk and felt slightly guilty about it, the science suggests you may want to drop that guilt entirely. Sign number 3. You notice things that other people walk right past. This is called perceptual sensitivity, and it is strongly associated with higher cognitive processing. Intelligent people tend to have a wider attentional field, meaning they pick up on more environmental details, more subtle inconsistencies, more background information than the average person processes. You notice the shift in someone's tone before they say what is wrong. You catch the logical gap in an argument that everyone else accepted. You pick up on the undercurrent of a conversation, not just the words being spoken. This trait can feel like a burden sometimes because it means you are processing more information constantly, and your brain is doing more work in every environment. But it is the same trait that makes highly intelligent people exceptional at reading situations, solving complex problems, and anticipating outcomes that others did not see coming. Sign number 4. You have a deep capacity for empathy. This one is perhaps the most misunderstood on this list because people tend to separate emotional intelligence from cognitive intelligence as though they are unrelated. But research from the University of Cambridge, particularly studies involving the Reading the Mind in the Eyes test, found significant correlations between high cognitive ability and the capacity to accurately perceive and understand the emotional states of others. Intelligent people are often better at modeling other minds, at understanding perspectives different from their own, at holding complexity in interpersonal situations. If you have ever been described as someone who just gets people, who can feel what others are feeling before they express it, that is not purely emotional sensitivity. It is also a form of sophisticated cognitive processing. Sign number 5. You talk to yourself. either out loud or in the ongoing internal monologue that narrates and analyzes your own experience constantly. Psychologists have found that inner speech, the internal dialogue that runs through your mind, is strongly associated with higher executive function and self-regulation. A study from the University of Wisconsin found that using self-directed language helps with cognitive task performance, working memory, and impulse control. Talking yourself through problems, narrating your own reasoning, even arguing with yourself to test an idea. These are not signs of eccentricity. They are signs of an active, self-monitoring, analytically engaged mind working at a high level. Sign number 6. You are easily overwhelmed by sensory input or mental stimulation. This might seem like a contradiction, but stay with it. Research on highly intelligent individuals frequently identifies heightened sensitivity, not as a weakness but as a byproduct of a nervous system that processes more deeply. The brain that picks up on more, that analyzes faster, that holds more simultaneous considerations, is also the brain that can reach overload more quickly in chaotic, loud, or overstimulating environments. If crowded places drain you, if too many competing demands fragment your focus severely, if you find certain sounds or environments disproportionately distracting, this is often the shadow side of a highly attuned processing system. The same sensitivity that makes you perceptive and analytically sharp also makes your nervous system respond more intensely to incoming information. Sign number 7. You have a tendency to catastrophize or imagine worst-case scenarios. This one is going to feel uncomfortable to read, but the psychology is compelling. Researchers at Lakehead University found that individuals who scored higher on measures of verbal intelligence also scored higher on measures of worry and rumination. The proposed mechanism is that an intelligent brain is better at running future simulations, better at modeling how things could go wrong, better at identifying risks and complications that less analytical minds simply do not generate. The anxiety is the price of the processing power. If your mind frequently maps out everything that could go wrong in a given situation, you may not have an anxiety problem. You may have a high-resolution prediction engine that needs to be directed more intentionally toward constructive planning rather than passive catastrophizing. Sign number 8. You learn better from observation than from instruction. Highly intelligent people often find traditional step-by-step instruction limiting, because their pattern recognition is fast enough to extract principles from observation before the instruction has finished explaining the process. You watch someone do something once, and you have already mapped the underlying logic. You read a few pages of a new subject, and you have already begun connecting it to things you already know. This is not impatience, though it can feel like impatience. It is a cognitive style called top-down processing, in which the brain moves from general principles to specific applications rather than from specific steps to general understanding. People who think this way are often excellent at seeing the big picture, at identifying patterns across domains, and at applying concepts from one field to solve problems in an entirely different one. Sign number 9. You find it genuinely difficult to relate to people who do not think deeply about things. This one requires honesty. If you have ever felt frustrated in conversations that stay entirely on the surface, if you have felt a quiet loneliness because most social interactions feel like they are missing something, if you have always craved conversations about ideas and found talk about trivial things vaguely unsatisfying, that is not arrogance, it is cognitive need. Psychologist Mihaly Csikszentmihalyi, who spent decades researching exceptional individuals, found that highly intelligent people consistently reported a deep hunger for what he called substantive exchange, conversation that goes somewhere, that builds something, that leaves you knowing more than you did before. If you have felt that hunger your whole life and occasionally felt guilty about it, the science suggests it is simply your mind telling you what it needs. Sign number 10. You have a persistent, nagging sense that you are not living up to your potential. This is perhaps the most painful sign on this list, and also the most telling. Research on gifted and highly intelligent adults frequently documents something called the awareness gap, the gap between what the mind perceives as possible and what the current circumstances of life are delivering. Intelligent people often have a vivid, detailed sense of what they are capable of what could be built or created or understood or achieved. And when the life they are living does not match the life that vision suggests is possible, the result is a specific kind of dissatisfaction that is hard to explain to people who have never felt it. It is not depression exactly. It is not ingratitude. It is the ache of potential that has not found its full expression yet. If you carry that feeling, take it seriously. Not as evidence that something is wrong with you, as evidence that your mind knows something about what you are capable of that your current circumstances have not yet allowed you to demonstrate. Here is what ties all 10 of these signs together. Intelligence is not a single thing. It is not a test score or a degree or how quickly you can solve a math problem. It is a constellation of traits, a particular way of processing experience, a specific relationship with complexity, depth, and uncertainty. If you recognized yourself in the signs on this list, you are probably significantly more intelligent than you have been giving yourself credit for. The question is no longer whether you are capable. It never was. The question is what you are going to do with a mind that, by all the evidence, is far more powerful than you thought. If this made you see yourself differently, share it with someone who has always underestimated themselves. And subscribe, because the psychology of the human mind is what we explore here, and we are just getting started.